Welcome back, everybody, to another day of the show. I hope you're doing absolutely fantastic. I know you've missed me. It's only been a day, but there's so much to get into. By the way, I understand this is YouTube, right? So we're trying to get new viewers excited. The titles are going to be like, whoa. But when I say shock breaking, which we say every day, because there's always shock breaking news, I mean it. There is something deeply wrong, as I'll get into here in a second, about the ideology and this religious undertone to the ideology of war from Pete Hegseth and the messianic approach or characterization of Trump, who could, by the way, not be more distant from Jesus, as he's outlined in the Bible at least, is disturbing, and it's going too far. So we're going to talk about that. Hegseth's like, you question Trump, press. Well, you know who questioned Jesus? The Pharisees. You're like them. We're also going to talk about the BBC being another organization that, out of fear of Trump, censored a historian and an author in their telling of the corruption of Trump. You have a psychologist on Piers Morgan's show saying, this is not just, hey, Trump's like mentally declining, but it's sort of cute. Or like Biden, for example, okay? Mental decline, yeah. Age, yeah. Slower, Walking different, yeah. Maybe that is perfect reason to be concerned about another 4 years of serving, absolutely. But never even did the biggest critics of Biden worry that decline or some sort of psychological cognitive condition would cause World War III. None of them did, okay? It was a sleepier version as opposed to a more erratic version of Biden. In this case, it is a threat to the world, and that's what the psychologist outlines, and much more. But let's start with the big news of the day, truly shocking, which is this. We all thought that maybe, no we didn't, but can I set it up that way? We all thought that maybe the backlash from MAGA, Trump having to delete that post where he portrayed himself as Jesus, he had learned his lesson, right? And that other members of his administration would cut it out with all this Trump is God type stuff. But shockingly, that is not what happened. And instead, they're leaning in. And Pete Hegseth said, Trump, oh, you depicted yourself as Jesus and people were upset? Hold my many beers and get ready for this, sir. He comes out for his routine press conference in front of the press corps to say all of you should be ashamed of yourself. You should just be on your knees bowing to Trump. He does this a lot. He gets really onto the press. And for some reason, instead of just updating us about the war, he takes it as an opportunity to lecture the press that they're not cheering Trump on enough. But this one took a disturbing turn that speaks to an ideological rot in this administration, as you're about to watch here. Take a look.
This past Sunday, I was sitting in church with my family, and our minister preached from the book of Mark, the 3rd chapter. And in the passage, Jesus entered a synagogue and healed a man with a withered hand. The Pharisees came to watch. And as the scripture reads, they came to see whether Jesus, would heal him, or he would heal him on the Sabbath, so that they might accuse him. You see, the Pharisees, the so-called and self-appointed elites of their time, they were there to witness, to write everything down, to report. But their hearts were hardened. Even though they witnessed a literal miracle, it didn't matter. They were only there to explain away the goodness in pursuit of their agenda. As the passage ends, the Pharisees went out and immediately held counsel against him, how to destroy him. I sat there in church and I thought, our press are just like these Pharisees. Not all of you, but the legacy Trump-hating press. Your politically motivated animus for President Trump nearly completely blinds you from the brilliance of our American warriors.
So that's what you were thinking about during service. As you're hearing about a miracle from Jesus, you're thinking about, man, this is just like the way the press treats Trump. Now, let's track with that, what do you call it? Metaphor, analogy? Analogy. Let's track along with him. So in this, you have Trump is Jesus doing the miracle, right? That's the only way you can understand this comparison. And then the Pharisees are the press, and the Pharisees, meaning the press, are watching Trump do a miracle, I guess the Iran war, and are questioning him for it like the Pharisees questioned Jesus and tried to cast doubt on him. Now, in the Jesus story, he's healing someone. And I thought the withering hand, the rotting hand in the story was going to be the comparison, that Trump needs his hand to be healed. But it wasn't. Trump was Jesus in that. So in this, Jesus is healing someone. What are the press currently questioning? The Pharisees. Well, the press are questioning Trump killing people. So Jesus healing someone and being doubted by the Pharisees is like Trump killing people and being doubted by the press. And if you don't understand that, you're the fool and you're unpatriotic and you just don't understand God. Now, somehow this wasn't the most embarrassing thing in the last 24 hours from Pete Hegseth. We're going to get into that. Him on stage quoting a Pulp Fiction quote, thinking it was from the Bible. Very godly man. But can you picture sitting in the pews, or whatever the correct term is, sitting in the congregation of his church, and the pastor's up there, reminding people, women, don't talk. You see me up here, you can never stand up here. Things like that. Homosexuals, shame, shame, shame. All that. This is the type, I'm assuming that's the type of church Hegseth goes to. Not all churches. Type of church he goes to. And I know that his former pastor, current pastor, thinks that women shouldn't be able to vote. So as he's hearing that, it's true. It's just true. As he's hearing that, and then he hears the story of Jesus, he thinks, that is Trump. It's honestly sick. And this is going to backfire badly. If Trump posting an image of himself with no explanation and then going, I thought I was a doctor, which some people think was because he was advised behind the scenes to say the image was doctored, like it was altered, but he heard doctor, and so he said doctor. Maybe. If you think that is offensive, Hegseth just spelled it out. Because in the image, Trump didn't say exactly what he meant. You just saw it. Now we have an image paired with Hegseth going, yes, I'm saying the press should treat Trump like how the Pharisees should have treated Jesus. How on earth does one single Christian stand by this administration as he's justifying war? That's another fold to this. It'd be one thing just to make the comparison, but it's a whole other thing when what he's trying to justify with that comparison is war, is the opposite of what Jesus was doing, even in that story. And then Pete Hegseth was speaking at a different event and for some reason chose a woman's size small suit jacket. Why is the button about to smother his stomach? Look at this. Take a larger size, sir. Okay. And he thinks he's quoting the Bible. He's quoting Quentin Tarantino.
So their job is to literally sacrifice themselves for someone else. And in Iran, in contested territory, that's exactly what they did. This prayer was recited by Sandy 1, which is one of the Sandys, to all Sandys, all those A-10 crews, prior to all CSAR missions, but especially this CSAR mission that happened in real time. They call it CSAR 2517, which I think is meant to reflect Ezekiel 25:17. So the prayer is CSAR 25:17, and it reads, and pray with me, please. The path of the downed aviator is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who, in the name of camaraderie and duty, shepherd the lost through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to capture and destroy my brother. And you will know my call sign is Sandy 1, when I lay my vengeance upon thee. And amen. So thank you for joining us this month, every month. Thank you for worshiping with us and taking just that moment, which, as I say
Pete's a fit guy. I'm sorry, I'm so distracted by this. And so this isn't about like, oh, his tummy. He's a fit guy. He's trim. But like that button, sir, is doing too much work. Just up one. I don't know who hemmed this for you, but it's completely off. It makes your body look shaped very strangely. It all is so cartoonish somehow. So take that down and look at this. While the prayer didn't sound much like Ezekiel 25:17, which in the King James Bible simply reads this, it does resemble a fake version of Ezekiel 25:17 quoted by the actor Samuel L. Jackson in Tarantino's 1994 crime movie Pulp Fiction, just before his character shoots a man to death. And then it quotes that quote. Why? Who put this in his speech? Kayla, what are you thinking?
I just recently saw Pulp Fiction again, and as he was reading it, I was hearing Samuel L. Jackson's voice say it, and I was like, okay, first of all, nothing tipped you off. All of my brother's call sign. There's the phrase call signs, not in the Bible. Also, what did he say? Caesar? What is he talking about? What does he mean? And I think they mean Ezekiel. How did he get from A to B? Like, truly, I don't know how he got there. I went to Lutheran school for many, many years. Mm-hmm. I have never heard of whatever he said that translates to that. I don't know if he's reading like if there's something other than the King James version, if there's like the
Tarantino version.
There's a Tarantino MAGA version of the Bible. I have no idea how he even got there. What I think happened is he used ChatGPT to write this and he did not like fact check it.
Probably.
And that just blows my mind. Holy heck.
Holy heck, I know. It's genuinely confusing. The Pope is out going, okay, I know the Trump administration's threatening me and saying, we have the largest military in the world, you better not question us, then literally yanking millions from Catholic Church charities among this feud because the needy should suffer to punish the Pope for calling for peace. But the Pope is still standing his ground.
Jesus told us, blessed are the peacemakers. But woe to those who manipulate religion in the very name of God for their own military, economic, or political gain, dragging that which is sacred into darkness and filth. Yes, my dear sisters and brothers, you who hunger and thirst for justice, who are poor, merciful, meek, and pure of heart, you who have wept, you are the light of the world. Jesus.
Imagine hearing that and thinking he should be our enemy. I mean, that is so offensive. He's attacking the president. And then you keep hearing these frauds go on television and say, listen, all I'm saying is the Pope should stay out of politics. And it's like, that doesn't even make any sense. He's quoting the Bible. The Bible got into politics, if you want to word it that way. If he's just going to remind people, hey, you should strive for peace and love your neighbor and etc., and then you're going to take that as he's attacking Trump, that's a you issue, not a him issue. And then here's more from Pete Hegseth's press conference.
Speaking of choosing wisely, a note to the press corps.
Oh my gosh.
To the American media. As I just can't help but notice the endless stream of garbage, the relentlessly negative coverage you cannot resist peddling, despite the historic and important success of this effort and the success of our troops. Sometimes it's hard to figure out what side some of you are actually on.
Okay, you don't understand what the press is there for. Your job, if you'd like it to be, your spokespeople's job is to say what you want to be said. The press's job is to pick it apart, literally all the time in every administration. You can take that down. And that's what they're supposed to do, be a check on power, Try to figure out the truth. Question each of the statements from the administration. That's what they should do during the Biden administration, during the Trump administration. You just give a lot more reason to be questioned because you're so obviously dishonest much more frequently. This weird rage from him that is so disorienting, it leads him to doing more blasphemy by putting Trump in the Jesus position in a story. At the press, your anger at the press that's so distorting because they won't just be your cheerleader demonstrates how deeply detached from the American ideals you are that are supposed to shape the purpose of the press, which is not to be just a megaphone for your message. Meanwhile, Stephen Miller.
And this embargo and every other option is on the table as President Trump seeks that final, safe, secure.
Up. What is Trump seeking?
As President Trump seeks that final, safe, secure outcome for the people of the world.
Right. You wouldn't call it a solution of any kind, right? Okay, so obviously that was kind of a slip up, but you could see him go, as Trump pursues the final safe outcome. Yes. I think he's just a little too used to... Never mind, not really. Not really. There's no reason that almost slipped out of his mouth. There's no reason.
It's not a Freudian slip so much as a Freudian deep dive, a Freudian skydive, Freudian being shot out of a cannon.
No, we're not saying that. We're not saying that. Stephen Ratner breaks down for us. Stick around for this because this is crazy. This is the craziest part somehow. As Hegseth's going, question Trump and you're questioning Jesus. You should just support everything we do with this war. They're also pushing for our next military budget, 2027, to be $1.5 trillion in a year. Not like for the next decade, in a year. And do I want a very powerful military? If we ever need to use it, absolutely. We already had that before adding another $500 billion, because it was around $1 trillion already. And before that, it was already around $800 billion. Now, I'm going to do the comparison. This is the part you need to see. But first, Trump's budget is all whacked in so many ways. Stephen Ratner writes, the Trump budget is historic. For the first time in recent history, the government would spend a larger share of its annual budget on the military than on domestic programs. Then you have this. The Trump budget is war first, America people last. It explodes military funding and brings departments like labor, education, and agriculture to historic lows. You can see the reductions in all these departments and the explosion in the Department of War, as they want us to call it. The budget will dramatically increase our debt. Meanwhile, even though Trump pretended like he was going to pay down the entire debt in his first term, and now he's responsible for 25% of all of it in history. He's hiding behind unrealistic growth assumptions, but the evidence is clear. And then Trump's huge military budget would be the largest in American history, more than World War II, inflation adjusted. So contextually, even adding the context of the two different times, we're going to be spending more now in the golden age of peace than we did while we were fighting the Nazis during World War II. Why? And then you might be thinking, how does this compare? Okay. You ready for this? Rough numbers. I did some of this with ChatGPT. Okay. But rough numbers here. The Chinese budget, military budget, so the second largest military in the world is China's, is $300 billion. $300 billion. 1.5 trillion is what Trump's trying to push through. If you combine the next 9 biggest military budgets in the world, you still get much less than the United States' new military budget. Look at this. You see this? China, $300 billion. Russia, who's at war, is only $150 billion. India, that has 1 billion people, $86 billion. Okay? China is much larger than the United States in population, etc., right? So you understand. Now, do you want to have your mind blown? Rough numbers. If you combine all of the countries' military budgets in the world other than ours, you get around, according to ChatGPT, 1.5 trillion. So we'd be spending as much as the rest of the world combined? Someone fact check that. Fact check that. That doesn't sound right. Definitely way more than the next 9. You can see that in this visualization. way more than that. But let's see. Yeah, easy peasy lemon squeeze. Rest of the world combined. We're going to have the same military budget as every other country combined. Why? Is it because we actually need that? No. Do I love our troops? Do I want them to be well funded and get the best everything? Yes. Is Trump also destroying many of the ways we care for our veterans after they leave the service? Yes, he is. He absolutely is. Did he push a bunch of employees? Why do I keep asking myself questions that I can answer easily? That's such a dumb rhetorical trait. He did push people out of the VA that were servicing our veterans. But meanwhile, the guy who said he was going to be the president of peace is trying to have a military budget that's the same size as every other country in the world combined. And Lindsey Graham is more orgasmic over this than I've ever been about anything in my whole life, including sex. To be clear, including sex.
Long here. Great on defense. If you're a guy like me, this is the budget you've been dreaming of. I think $1.5 trillion, given the world, I think is justified and necessary, given the changing nature of war and how complex it is.
Can you Google real quick the last budget of USAID? How big the last budget of USAID was? So he says this is what I've been dreaming of. Sometimes late at night when I'm trying to make myself feel better in the shower, I picture a $1.5 trillion military budget, and now it's coming to fruition. What is it? Let's see.
In the fiscal year of 2024, the USAID budget was a whopping $35.4 billion.
So we had to destroy USAID. That's going to lead to probably millions, honestly, of deaths globally because of destroying that program. $35 billion. Because we didn't have the money. But we can add $500 billion to the already $1 trillion military budget to fight wars that we don't even need to be fighting.
And if that sounds like a lot, I just wanted you to know for scale that $35.4 billion accounted for 0.3% of total federal spending in 2024.
Yeah.
And oh my God, even less in 2025, considering 83% of the programs were cut. So, that's super cool.
And the consequences of that are massive for the ability for us to exert soft power, to cultivate relationships with countries that then we use to our own advantage by doing something good. It's like the best way that you can expand your influence is to do genuine good and address diseases and treat people and provide food assistance. But then in that, you cultivate relationships with numerous different countries and communities that later come in handy and allow for us to be even more influential globally. But we didn't have to do it through bombing. We did it through actually caring for people. Then you have Democrat Senator Murray saying this.
$1 trillion more to fund Trump's foreign wars. We should be sending more funding to our schools right here in America, not, in my opinion, buying more missiles that Trump can fire on schools in Iran. We should be building bridges here in America, not destroying them in Iran. And we should be bringing down our energy costs, not blowing money on wars that send gas prices for our constituents through the roof. So
I can't even get over that in my head. How is it that we are... Guys, do you know how many MAGA people said military-industrial complex, fighting foreign wars, Trump's gonna stop that? And now it's all flipped on its head. China, that's the big, scary military. $300 billion. For however many people they have in their country. That's a lot of people. And we need to dwarf all of the other biggest militaries and all of them combined. For what? For what? It's not like we're going into, or I hope we're not going into World War III. But that's, if I were Tucker Carlson, for example, you would go, only reason that a person, which is true, by the way, would want this much money in the budget is if they're expecting to fight every single country on the planet at once. That must be the plan. Clearly trying to bring Armageddon. Like, I don't think there's an inevitability to, we're going to go and do World War III somehow. But it does make you panic when they say this is the amount of money we need, because you say, how could we possibly burn through that much money if we weren't doing so many different military adventures or excursions, as Trump would call them, wars. All right, Kayla, let's check in with the audience, and then we'll get back to the show. What do you have for me?
Let's see. Hold on a second. I'm so sorry.
All good?
I cannot hear myself. It throws me off because it's a half-second delay. All right. So we've got some new people signing up. Smore 2018. Welcome thank you for being a supporter. Eric Heaps 777, new supporter. Thank you so much. And you also have J. Michael. Oh my God. J. Michael R. NYT also becoming an amazing supporter. Thank you so much.
Everybody, thank you so much to any of our members. Click the join button on YouTube to get a daily bonus show. And then tomorrow we'll be doing our booze and the news bonus show where we drink and have a lot of fun talking about the news.
Let's see. We also have a message from Crispy Critter 89 who said, every time I hand my 5-month-old his stuffed cow, I have to stop myself from saying, I love cows in Trump voice. Thanks for the brain rot, y'all.
Here, go find.
Is he talking about this?
I love cows.
Absolutely. I can do the rest of these. Ronald Kame, thank you so much. Then you have, if you'll click off the mic, Watch Me Watch You. MAGA has Stockholm Syndrome, and that is the real TDS. Quanthrux. Fox News, Hannity, and Vance tell the Pope to keep religion out of politics while Trump posts himself as Jesus Christ in robes blessing Epstein looking dude. The guy looked kind of like Epstein. He looked way more. Did you see the Jon Stewart coverage of that? And Jon Stewart's like, oh, who is that? And it looked so much like Jon Stewart, and he made such a funny joke of it. But yeah, it's weird to say that the Pope needs to stay out of politics, but Trump can't stay out of the Pope. Trump can't stay out of religion. It's not really a two-way street, and the Pope's not getting into politics. He's just speaking about things that are obviously a part of his religious belief system. Do you all wish that my transitions in and out of commercial breaks were more like this?
Plus, free breast implants for immigrants? Next.
Yeah. So there's that. Before we get into our next full-length segment, I came across this and I thought you all would have fun seeing it, and then we'll dive right back in. The governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, is doing a spin-off series, I guess just for social media or something, of diners, drive-ins, and dives, but DeSantis version where he reviews food. And I watched some of this just to make myself suffer, and it reminded me that JD Vance seems like the most charismatic person compared to DeSantis. Like, I've railed against how JD Vance has no charisma, and I stand by that in a general sense until I see DeSantis and I go, oh wow, JD Vance actually is very likable compared to this guy. Watch this.
I mean, if you're looking at this spread and you're not interested in coming, then like I don't know what to say to you.
Down in sweet Florida, our governor, he's red, white, and blue.
As governor, he's red, white, and blue. That doesn't even make any sense. I know that our colors, and I love our colors, and I'm yay America, but like, what does that even have to do with anything? DeSantis is red, white, and blue. He has the face of a bald eagle, and his breath smells like apple pie.
Good to be here.
Thank you so much for being here.
Okay.
Good to see you. I'm so happy to have you. God bless you. Bye. Thank you for coming.
Great to see you.
Thank you for being here.
And I am pleased.
Did you see that? If any of you struggle, and I know plenty of people do in the audience and in the world, with social interactions, you might be kind of socially awkward, social anxiety, and walking up to people, greeting them, going into a social setting can be stressful for you. This will be a good learning experience, because just don't do what he just did. Walk up, and when someone says, hey, it's good to see you, go, okay. And then say 3 times in a row. Listen to it again. You might not have noticed this. Each person he walked up to and said hello to, it was like 3 women. He just went, yeah, 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 yeah. Literally. They said, hi, oh my gosh. He went, hi, yeah, 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 yeah. To each person. Watch this. Ready?
Good to be here.
Thank you so much for being here.
Okay. Good to see you.
I'm so happy to have you. God bless you. Bye. Thank you for coming.
Great to see you.
Who does that? Hi, Mr. DeSantis. Thank you for being here. Okay. Yeah. Hi, how are you? Yeah. Okay, yeah. That's not how you greet a group of people at all.
Thank you for being here.
And I am pleased to be reporting from Steinhatchee, Florida. And this is where all the magic happens.
Oh, good. Wow.
And this is my grandma's homemade recipe.
Wow.
Top secret. The pizza's.
And then that's the other thing. The reason why these food reviewers are interesting is because they think of more fascinating takes than, wow. Yeah. Wow.
Got the char on the bottom and on the crust. And so that's good because, you don't want it to be all floppy and doughy.
Okay, there we go. He came up with a take. You get it. I just needed you to see the hi, yeah. Hi, yeah. Oh my gosh. I really wonder what it's like to be in his body.
Bad.
Yeah, I mean like living as him. Because
also bad.
Right. It feels like these, even Vance, when he walked up to the donut shop, you remember, and was like, hi, how long have you worked here? Okay, and the lady's like, hey, I don't want to be on camera. And he goes, all right, let's take her off camera. Okay, so I guess we'll just do whatever y'all want, which is never what you say to someone you're ordering from. Donuts. Let's rewatch this and then we'll get back into the show. Sorry for this little aside. It's just too good. Ready?
The zoo has come to town. Thank you for letting us come in here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm sorry, babe? Okay, yeah. She doesn't want to be on film, guys, so just cut her out of anything. Appreciate that, man. I'm JD Vance. I'm running for vice president. Good to see you.
Okay.
How long have you worked here?
I've been here since the beginning of July.
Okay.
For this year.
Okay, good. How about you, sir?
Almost 2 years.
Okay, good. Just everything, yeah. I mean, a lot of glazed here, some sprinkle stuff, some of these cinnamon rolls, just whatever makes sense. How long has this place been around?
About 4 years.
About 4 years? Okay. How long have you been here?
A little over 6 months.
Okay, good.
Oh, it's so painful. It is so painful. He asks 3 times, how long have you been here? And then he asks, how long has this store been here? I forgot about that clip. He's like, how about you? Okay. All right, good. All right, 3 months? Okay, good. All right, 6 months? All right, good. How about this place? How long has this place been here? And then he tries to order and goes, we'll get, the glaze and sprinkle stuff, just like whatever makes sense. No. You are the one ordering. What do you mean whatever makes sense? What do you want? Pick what you want, whatever, whatever. And how do you not think of more different versions of questions to people to connect with them on a human level than how long have each of you worked here? And it feels a little bit like, how long have you been here? Can I deport you?
It's also, I can think of one question. Hi, what's your name?
Would be an option.
And also between him, the clip we watched of DeSantis and Trump at the McDonald's, all I can think about is like these people are so out of touch with like normal working class Americans or even just like normal human beings, people at this point. It's like it's like they cannot fathom what they can be doing in this building that they're so detached from, that he doesn't know what kind of donut he likes, that DeSantis is looking at pizza and being like, wow, it's got like a char on it. Yeah, I guess that makes a good pizza. I'm like, okay, dude, when was the last time you ordered Domino's? When was the last time you had Papa John? Like, You're not, the fact that you're even like at this establishment interacting with these people, it's such a bad vibe that they don't even understand the optics of showing up in this place in $100,000 suit to someone who's making $650 an hour, maybe with tips. Like it boggles my mind.
It does. And you can tell. I mean, why can't we pick leaders who have been at one point, I'm not even saying now, but have been at one point a human? Could we pick leaders that at one point in their life were a human who talked to people normally, as opposed to grown in some lab? JD Vance, just some politician lab. Okay, let's get into this now. The historian and author Rutger Bregman, who's gone viral for being a really brave voice in the past in calling out Tucker Carlson on his own show, and they never aired that, and then going to Davos, the World Economic Forum, and calling out kind of the contradictions of people who purport to be advocating for the uplifting of the working class, but often serve themselves. And then here you have him calling out the BBC for, he was going to speak at some BBC commissioned event, a major event, and deliver sort of lecture. And then there was a part in it where he references Trump, because he's talking about the bending of the knee by institutions to the powerful. Trump's a very prominent example of one of the powerful people forcing institutions to bend the knee to him. And then if you didn't think that was true, the corruption of Trump, which Rutger calls out, and then the bending of the knee by institutions to forces like Trump, then it was demonstrated in this saga, where, as you're going to see in this video, Rutger Bregman breaks down how BBC ended up censoring the part where he calls out the corruption of Trump from what they broadcasted on the air after Trump and the White House lost their bleep about what he was saying.
Donald Trump is the most openly corrupt president in American history. They got in touch later and said, hey, we're considering you to give the Wreath lectures. If that would happen, like in theory, what would you say? And so I thought about it for 2 weeks or so and came back and said, I think this is more or less what I would say during these lectures about the decadence of elites, about the need for a moral revolution, making comparisons to the abolitionists, to the suffragettes, you name it. And they were like, okay, great. You get the honor of delivering it for 500 people in the BBC radio theater. And then a couple of weeks later, it was supposed to be aired.
Remind us what happened. Remind us the line.
What first happened is that some idiot, I think at The Spectator, leaked to the Daily Mail that my whole first lecture was one big rant against Donald Trump, which is a lie. It was not at all. It was one big rant against my own people. There was one line in the lecture, though, that said that Donald Trump is the most openly corrupt president in American history, but basically suggesting we kind of all know that. So let's move on to more interesting things. And I had already said it in public for 500 people, and with a lot of people invited by the BBC, etc. So, but then the Daily Mail, heard about what was going on, and they had this thing on their front page, like outrageous, the BBC has invited another idiot, this Dutch crazy vegan who believes in open borders. They also called the White House, and the director of communications there said, yes, this is some horrible anti-Trump individual. Then what happened is that the BBC got in touch with me the Wednesday before it was supposed to air. They said, hey, Rutger, we're considering taking this line about Trump out. How would you feel about that? And I was like, not good. I'll be very clear about that. They said they got legal advice, that the lawyers were worried, and less than 24 hours before it was aired, they called me and said, we're taking that line out. For me, the irony could not have been greater, because this whole lecture was about the cowardice of elites. It was about universities, corporations, law firms, and yes, media networks bending the knee to the regime. And the fact that they said, look, this wouldn't have been a problem a month ago, that made it only more clear for me that they were bending the knee.
That's crazy that as he's speaking about a phenomenon, the reaction from the network that had hired him to do these lectures demonstrates the exact point that he was making. And the only reason you'd be justified to edit something out purposefully is because you think that it wasn't accurate, like calling Trump the most corrupt president in American history, or the different points in his speech. But those things are true, and they're demonstrated to be true, at least part of them, by the reaction from the BBC. And I know they're afraid Trump sued them over a different thing, and this is what he does. He tries to beat into submission these media outlets until they preemptively censor. It's not that Trump's FCC is always going to go and say, we're taking you off the air if you don't do this or that, like they did with Jimmy Kimmel. But it's that the threat of it and the appearance of them punishing all these different outlets gets you to preemptively self-censor, as they did here with Rutger Bregman. And then to think that it's not appropriate to describe Trump as the most corrupt president in American history is delusional. Find me another president who, through his office and through trading favors with foreign governments and exploiting his position of power to funnel money to himself, has seen their net worth increase by, I think, $3 billion at this point. Find me another president that that's happened to. $3 billion. MAGA used to pretend to care whenever Joe Biden would go from having a net worth of like $2 million to $17 million because he sold a bunch of books and got a lot more famous and could do speaking gigs. But billions of dollars of an increase to Trump's net worth doesn't bother some of them. It's obvious corruption. His whole crypto firm, the meme coin, and all of the different deals he's facilitated in real estate with different companies, using his power. Not just that's happening in the background, but with the UAE, he's literally giving them something they want if they're investing in his firm. That is the most corrupt and blatantly so that we've ever seen. So to edit that out from the BBC is shameful, and it proves the very point Rutgers making about the bending of the knee, the capitulation from so many different media entities and universities and corporations to Trump and people like him and other sort of authoritarian-minded and powerful elite people in the world. He wrote, less than 24 hours before the broadcast, the BBC called me and said, we're editing out a line of your lecture that Trump is the most openly corrupt president in American history. He said, no, don't do it. And they did. And apparently it, in part, was influenced by this White House fury at Trump monster jibe in showpiece BBC lecture. U.S. president dubbed a fascist during flagship speech commissioned by broadcaster. And the Trump White House was so furious by this. I never understand why they choose to go after certain entities and freak out, and then the ones they don't. Like, it's not new that people are comparing Trump's ideology to a fascistic ideology. You have one quote being a bit fashy to describe members of Trump's administration. I think a bit fashy is a very fine way to describe this. It's kind of like a bit, and it's like a cuter version of the term. A bit fashy. I didn't say fascist. Fascist! Ah! I said a bit fashy. Okay? And if you're not familiar with Rutger, he has gone viral for some of the best reasons. Do you remember this whenever he went on Tucker Carlson's show for a pre-recorded interview and called out the Fox News game? And Tucker Carlson liked to, and still likes to, pretend to be a populist, but often, especially back then, was just serving the very same interests that the Republican Party at large is serving, which is so often the powerful, influential, and well-connected. And they didn't end up airing this, but there was video from his angle that was released.
Wagon, you're all like, oh, I'm against the globalist elite, blah, blah, blah. It's not very convincing, to be honest.
Why don't you go yourself, you tiny brain, and I hope this gets picked up, because you're a moron. I tried to give you a hearing, but you were too annoying for me.
You can't handle the criticism, can you?
So then it's giving some background.
We gotta be talking about Texas. That's it. Texas, Texas, Texas. All the rest is bullshit, in my opinion.
I mean, it feels like I'm at a firefighters conference, and no one's allowed to speak about water. That's one of the great moments, maybe the great moment in Davos history.
So Tucker's responding to, I should probably show you this for context, take that down. Tucker's responding to this clip of Rutger, where he calls out the hypocrisy of the powerful whenever they meet in things like in Davos. And so Tucker likes that because he likes fear-mongering about the globalist elites. But he doesn't really like checking the powerful in a substantive way.
This is my first time at Davos, and I find it quite a bewildering experience, to be honest. I mean, 1,500 private jets have flown in here to hear Sir David Attenborough speak about, how we're wrecking the planet. And I hear people talk in the language of participation and justice and equality and transparency. But then, almost no one raises the real issue of tax avoidance, right? And of the rich just not paying their fair share. It feels like I'm at a firefighters conference and no one's allowed to speak about water.
So Tucker likes the World Economic Forum fear-mongering, and that plays into the globalist elites who are trying to make you eat bugs and say they care about environmentalism when they really don't, but doesn't, at this point at least, didn't want to contend with how the very propaganda he does to divide people along racial lines and to fearmonger about immigrants and to pump out 24/7 hate mongering on Fox News actually serves the very same issue. When you keep people divided over all these culture war issues, the M&Ms aren't hot enough because wokeness, then naturally they will focus less on the fundamental economic issues that we could all unite around.
Rutger Bregman is the author of Utopia for Realists, and he joins us now. Mr. Bregman, I can't stop laughing just listening to that. And part of it makes me wonder, are you the first person ever to note that people are flying private to talk about global warming and that none of them mention tax avoidance. Has anyone ever said that before at Davos that you know of?
Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not an expert on Davos history, but it is a bit hypocritical, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And others have noted that. We've noted it on this show. We've just never gone to Davos and said it out loud as you did. So if I was wearing a hat, I would take it off to you. What response did you get?
I mean, they were not very happy with me, but I'm just I think, a random Dutch historian who's basically saying whatever around the globe is thinking. You know, the vast majority of Americans, for years and years now, according to the polls, including Fox News viewers and including Republicans, are in favor of higher taxes on the rich. You know, higher inheritance taxes, higher top marginal tax rates, higher wealth taxes. It's all really mainstream. But no one's saying that at Davos, just as no one's saying it on Fox News, right? And I think the explanation for that is quite simple, is that most of the people in Davos, but also here on this channel, have been bought by the billionaire class. You know, you're not meant to say these things. So I just went there and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to say it, just as I'm saying it right here on this channel.
Well, what was interesting, I thought, about what you said was you noted something. I mean, many people have called for higher taxes, but very few.
Well, not on this channel, is it? I mean, almost all of the pundits on this channel for years have been against higher taxes, right? Even though the vast majority of Americans is in favor of it.
I mean, I don't know. It would be interesting to know how many hours of Fox you've watched, but I'm interested in what you said about tax avoidance. So, I mean, just because someone faces a specific tax rate does not mean that person pays that tax rate at all. I don't think Netflix, for example, paid any taxes last year at all. So what would you do specifically to make certain that this class of people pays what they're supposed to pay?
Well, it's about multiple things. So we should really crack down on tax paradises and on tax avoidance. That's a major issue. But it's also about having higher taxes. So in the 1950s, for example, in the 1960s, in the golden age of capitalism, as historians called it, we had top marginal tax rate for the very rich of about, 70, 80, 90%. Actually under Eisenhower, the Republican president. And this was also, one of the best periods in American history. The same is true for the UK and the rest of Europe. So as a historian, for me, it's all not, it's really not rocket science. We should just go back to simple and straightforward solutions from the past.
Right, but this country was sustained, and since you're a historian, I guess you would know this, sustained by an industrial economy at the time that was broad and deep. That created a middle class. That doesn't exist anymore. So it's an entirely different economy. I wish it did exist.
Oh well, but that's not really an issue. I mean,
work the same way with an entirely different economy?
Well, I think it would. I mean, America is still pretty much the most powerful country in the world, right? So if it really would want to, it could easily crack down on tax paradises. But the thing is, I mean, you guys have brought into power a president that doesn't even want to show its own tax returns. I mean, who knows how many billions he has hidden in the Cayman Islands or in Bermuda. So I think the issue really is one of corruption and of people being bribed and of not being, not talking about the real issues. What the family, what the Murdochs basically want you to do is to scapegoat immigrants instead of talking about tax avoidance. So I'm glad you're now finally raising the issue, but that's what's been happening for the past couple of years.
And I'm taking orders from the Murdochs. Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean, it doesn't work that directly. But I mean, you've been part of the Cato Institute, right? You've been a senior fellow there for years. You've been taking their dirty money. They're funded by cock billionaires,
Wait, why don't you tell me how it does work?
Well, it works by you taking their dirty money. It's as easy as that. I mean, you are a millionaire funded by billionaires. That's what you are. And I'm glad you now finally jumped the bandwagon, of people like Bernie Sanders and AOC. But you're not part of the solution, Mr. Carlson. You're part of the problem, actually.
AOC, but can I just say,
it's true, right? It's true, right? That all the anchors on Fox.
you would have
They're all millionaires. How is this possible? Well, it's very easy. You're just not talking about certain things.
It doesn't even, Fox doesn't even play where you are.
It doesn't play where you are. Well, have you heard of the internet? I can watch things whatever I want, you know? I have, actually. I can't say I'm a great fan of your show, but I do my homework when you invite me on your show. So, I mean, you're probably not going to air this, but I went to Davos to speak truth to power, and I'm doing exactly the same thing right now. You might not like it, but you're a millionaire funded by billionaires, and that's the reason why you're not talking about these issues.
But I am talking about these issues.
Yeah, only now. Come on, you jumped the bandwagon. You're all like, oh, I'm against the globalist elite, blah, blah, blah. It's not very convincing, to be honest.
Why don't you go yourself, you tiny brain, and I hope this gets picked up, because you're a moron. I tried to give you a hearing, but you were too annoying for me.
You can't handle the criticism, can you?
Oh, I never play that much of a clip, but I just had to. It's so good. Since I don't know when the next time we're going to talk about this particular guy I wanted to remind you of that because it speaks to what a lot of people do in the media space, and I want you to be warned of it. And I don't know what Tucker's doing now. He's kind of trying to redefine himself, but it's so repeatable. There's a mold people use. You get people, Trump did it too, riled up about the correct general problem, which is that average Americans are being screwed over by a system that serves a much smaller group of wealthy, powerful individuals. It's not some shadowy conspiracy and we don't know who's actually controlling. It's obvious. The people who have the money and influence then have more influence. So then, of course, in a system where we allow just whatever amounts of money to be pumped into getting candidates elected, they get to decide a lot more than you do the policy in how we structure our economy and the different systems. So it follows. Some people try to frame it, and that's why the right-wingers jump on the bandwagon, because it can feel conspiratorial. Like, there's a shadowy group that's actually controlling everything. It's not that. Just, like, literally follow the money. In a system like ours, where there's so little control over how much money can be spent in elections, unlike many other countries, naturally politicians who need to fund their campaign with a lot of money, and 9 times out of 10, the candidate that raised more money wins the election, they're going to go to the group of people who have more money, and then thus have to trade favors for it. So then those people are better served. And in every aspect of life, have more power to exert to serve themselves, as you would assume most people would do if they're self-interested. And so there's this right-wing version of populism that says we've recognized that now. And then they add a little extra conspiratorial angle to it. And then they say, and then they harness that energy that almost all people feel, because it's just a true fact of our world that there's that inequity, and they point it at the exact wrong people. And that has been done over and over and over throughout history. People feel angry and resentful. You grab onto that anger and resent and you target it at trans people, immigrants, liberals, whoever, gay people at one point. You find a group that's not actually the people who are breaking the system, but are some subset of the group being screwed over by the system. As James Talarico says a lot, Republicans are demonizing the wrong 1%, whether it's the 1% of Muslims in Texas or the 1% of trans people in the country or whatever it might be, instead of the correct top 1% that we should be focusing on. And so Tucker, for years on Fox News, and still now, I don't really hear him advocating economic policy that would be quote-unquote populist, that would be fundamentally restructuring our economy in a way that still allows for the benefits of capitalism, but provides a more equitable safety net and programs to actually benefit people and the general public. And I don't actually hear him explaining that. Definitely not any of the time he was on Fox News, but even now in his new, like, I'm more independent and calling things out version of himself, he sure takes issue with Trump, but I don't hear him taking much issue with the gutting of social safety net programs to pay for massive tax cuts for billionaires, which happened. Have you? Did I miss that? I haven't heard Tucker call that out. And that's the generational issue. There's a lot of other ones. And I'm glad to see some of these former MAGA people calling them out. But almost none of them will get at what the root of the long-term problem has been with the Republican Party. Tucker didn't do it there. He doesn't seem to do it now. And instead, it's often just trying to find a different issue to channel that rage at. And sometimes that is an issue you should be upset by, but it's just not the only issue. And sometimes it's a complete scapegoat. And that's why it led to them not airing that and him saying, "You tiny brain effing loser," which is such a childish insult. So I know that was a much longer segment than I expected, but credit to Rutger Bregman. And good stuff, and BBC should be ashamed of themselves for editing out his line in that speech. All right, checking with the audience. I'm sure there's lots that we need to get to. Kayla, hit it.
All right, let's see. First up, we've got Keaton Wilkins 2599, who said Kayla gonna stay officially. I didn't send that one. Again, I promise. We have a new supporter. It is Sylvia W7284. Welcome. Up next is... Oh my God.
Native Naturalist, who said, "Side note, if you're looking at the spread and not interested in coming, is a wild soundbite." I did have that exact same thought. I'm so glad you were with me. Look at this.
I mean, if you're looking at this spread and you're not interested in coming, then, like, I don't know what to...
Can we get this on the soundbite?
Like, I don't know what to say.
Wait, can we get this?
Not interested in coming.
Wait.
Spread and you're not...
Wait.
Spread and you're not...
Wait.
Spread and...
Ready?
You're not interested in coming.
There you go. Just that. Okay. You're back on the thing.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that was a ploy. I just didn't want to read that out loud, so my voice wasn't saying that on the internet forever. I'm kidding. From Germs Rosalino, JD Vance and Ron DeSantis. Hello, fellow humans. Tell me about your very human life that I completely relate to. And Drister1374 gave away 5 gifted subs or gifted memberships, so thank you so much for that. And finally, from your butt stuffed, I love your eyes, and will you do the Tucker Carlson laugh?
Oh, I think it might be with the soundboard they're looking for, not me. It's so weird. It's so weird. I appreciate you saying that about my eyes. Hey, before we get into our next segment, do you want to get really cringed and irritated? Here's someone saying, "I'm burning my MAGA hat," and then they go, "Just kidding, I still love Trump."
That's it. I had enough. The newest thing that Trump did this week is now the worst thing he's ever done. I could no longer support MAGA. I've been with MAGA for 10 years. I've been supporting Trump for 10 years. And I cannot do it anymore. I cannot in good faith support such an evil man. And we're going to have... Psych.
And then he flips off the camera. Okay. Cool. Sir. Have fun. You know what? Hey, have fun. We tried to get you to turn over. You can take that down. But have a blast being a part of this train that's like, it's not even that it's gonna go off the track, it's off the tracks. It's just going through villages and mowing people over right now. Honestly, a little bit too close to literally. Okay, let's get into Caroline Leavitt's most recent press briefing. I know this has been said before, but it really does feel like we're watching a show, and I would be thinking, like a fictional show about American politics, Veep or something, and I'd be thinking, okay, this is funny, but it's funny because it's not real, and it's also kind of interesting to note that this would never be real life. You know, it's a show, it's Veep. But it's all just becoming so real. And then you realize, oh, this is not actually what I want. I want it in a fictional show. I don't want it in real life. And I can just picture them behind the scenes being like, what the are we going to say? Okay. And they walk out and they're like, hi, everything's going so great in this administration. They come out and try to confidently pretend like things are going great. I know they know that's not true. because the points they try to make are so weak. Here's Caroline Levitt saying we should give Trump credit for the reductions in gas prices that happened as a part of a trend that predated him before they skyrocketed. Like, hey, why won't you thank him for how they were lower before they skyrocketed because of his decision?
You expect gas prices to decrease, and thank goodness we have a president in an administration that believes in American energy dominance in bringing down prices at the pump. Look at how gas prices decreased over the past year since this president was in office. It's a stark contrast to the previous administration and Democrats in this city who believe in hampering our domestic energy industry, who believe in importing our most precious resources, who believe in implementing policies that created the worst inflation crisis in history.
Okay, so she says, thank goodness we have a president administration that believes it. Look at how gas prices decreased over the past year since the president was in office. They're way up. Do you understand what she's saying? She's saying there was already a cooling of gas prices that was happening and would have happened whoever took over as long as they didn't start a war. And then he did. But the reduction that happened before now they're way up and are going to be up for a while is something we should be amazed by. How do you even think of that? How do you think the thing people are really annoyed with right now is that gas prices have skyrocketed, so I should tell them that they should be impressed by how before they skyrocketed they were lower? No, that makes me remember how much they've gone up. Now I have an EV. Ooh, but people remember that, and that affects all aspects of energy cost. Then she tries to say that it's especially notable in contrast to Democrats who wanted to hamper our domestic. We had the highest oil production up until that point in history under Biden. The last year of his presidency, oil production domestically was higher than it had ever been. So how did he hamper it? We were energy independent if you use the same definition they used to say Trump was. She's just making that up. And one of the reasons that, you know what? No, I'm not doing this again. I'm not going through the whole history of the economy of the last 5 years to try to explain to these liars. And their new talking point is, and here's Besant trying to make it, short-term gain for long-term gain. Short-term pain for long-term gain. When I go on walks in the morning with my pink half-pound dumbbells and I shake them like this while I walk, can't you picture Besant doing that? I recognize that the short-term pain will be long-term gain once I have washboard abs.
A question for Secretary Besant.
Danny, go ahead.
Mr. Secretary, you were quoted as saying in an interview earlier this week that it was worth a bit of economic pain for international security. Is that this administration's message to American voters with high gas prices that ahead of the midterms this year that it's worth the economic pain?
Well, the message is the short-term volatility for long-term gain.
That's right. And Danny, if I could add to that.
Nah, I don't want you to add to it. So short-term volatility for long-term gain. So they altered it a little bit, but is that not the same thing? But here's what's bothering me, okay? And then we're going to get to the discussion of the Strait of Vermouth. Okay? We're going to get to that in a second. But first, I thought I heard we had to bear through short-term pain for long-term gain after the Liberation Day. I call them Retribution Day, but Liberation Day tariffs. Do you remember when that happened and there was all this volatility and they said short-term pain for long-term gain, guys? And then there was some other decision Trump made and they said it again like months later. And then now they're saying it again. So here's what they mean. Short-term pain until January of 2029 when Trump's out of office. And then the long-term gain will be whoever else takes over who's hopefully a Democrat who can fix things. That'll be the gain portion. That's something you say for 3 months, okay? Hey, we've decided we need to reconfigure our trade policy. It's going to be unstable, but then trust me, you'll see it 3 months later. It's going to be better. But instead, it's continued to be painful. Now this war is painful, and we're a year and a few months in. So we're already over 25% through Trump's presidency, and they're still telling us to bear through the pain, and then we'll get to the gain. It feels like they're just going to say that until the very last day of his presidency. And I'm sick of it already. Here's Bessent getting asked, the energy secretary came out and y'all have been acting as if gas prices pretty soon are going to cool off. When will that happen? Will it happen by summer? And is it going to get down to $3 a gallon gas? And Bessent finds a way to say, well, there could be maybe, possibly by the very end of the summer, a 3 in front of the number.
Thank you. And Secretary Bessent, it doesn't sound like we're going to have $3 a gallon gas by summertime, which we had initially been told by the Energy Secretary. He now says that it would be very aggressive if we're going to get to the $3 a gallon gas by the summer. So when are we really going to get $3 a gallon gas?
Well, I think that's going to be the up to how the negotiations go. President Trump said this morning that he thinks we're nearing the end. The U.S. kept their side on the ceasefire. We've stopped firing. The Straits of Hormuz have not been completely reopened. So we will see. And I'm optimistic that during the summer we will see gas with a 3 in front of it sooner rather than later.
Wait. I don't even care about the Strait of Hormuz thing. He did say that. That's so weird. But someone said, oh, I see now why Pete Hegseth wants to take control of it. Funny. Strait of Hormuz. Get it? Alcohol. Okay. So, but that's not my joke. Someone else made that joke. But did you hear what he said? Originally, it was, guys, this is a short excursion. Gas will be down to $3 a gallon by summer. And now he's going, I'm optimistic that we could see in the summer a 3 in front of the price, which is very different than $3 a gallon, because that could be $3.99, could it not? Right? And he says, when people say $3 a gallon, they mean like a cent away from $2.99, right? Yes. But instead, he's saying a cent away from $4. We noticed as much as we noticed the Strait of Hormuz.
I have a real question, and this might be my nativity. Oh my God. Naivete. I'm sorry, I ran out of water and now my mouth is dry. We're in Texas.
Do you need a Strait of Vermouth?
I need a Strait of Vermouth in my glass right now. I feel like we're in Texas, so we might be a little spoiled because the oil is right there. The whole Biden years, the whole time of all of that, even through like after the pandemic, I've never seen gas over $2.89 until last week and the week before. Like, I feel like $2.89 was like the highest I was encountering. I also don't drive a lot unless I'm like driving literally cross country all the way to Georgia. But even then, it's not like as crazy as I feel like these Trump supporters are making it out to be the whole reason they want to vote. Like, oh, we want $2 gas. We want $2 gas. And I'm like, we have $2 gas at home. What are you talking about? It's right there. And now, it genuinely, I have no idea where that talking point came from. And I don't know, again, if it's just because we're right next to where they make the oil or process the oil.
Yeah, Texas definitely has cheaper gas prices. There was a huge surge in that like recovery from the pandemic era that was really painful for a lot of people. It's been a long time since I drove a gas car. Whatever the cars with the gas. But right now is a huge spike too. And it's not because of pandemic supply chain issues or a big global shock or any of that. It's literally a direct impact of Trump's decision, which makes it a lot different. By the way, right before the war started, he was bragging like this.
If you look at fuel, $2.35 a gallon, a lot of that. But we actually had 4 states where it's down $1.99, $1.09.
So that wasn't true when he said it. But now they went from him lying that they had $1.99 gas in certain states and then the national average $2.30, which it wasn't. And now they're going, maybe we can get it down below $4 a gallon is like their achievement by summer. And then in the same press conference, you had Dr. Oz asked about this clip that we watched earlier. So I'll remind you of the clip and then we'll look at Dr. Oz being asked about it.
Office. He'll pepper. Bobby and I usually go to the meetings together. So he'll first start off with candy bars, that little candy jar he'll call it. He'll hit the red button. Yeah. And then comes the diet soda pops, which is your dad argues that diet soda is good for him because it kills grass it's poured on grass, so therefore it must kill cancer cells inside the body. So he'll try to, please. I'm not even going to argue this right now. We were on Air Force One the other day, and I walk in there because he wants to talk about something, and he's got an orange soft drink on his desk.
Fanta. He drinks Fanta.
That's what I didn't want to say the brand name on the podcast. He's got Fanta on the desk, and I say, "Are you kidding me?" So he starts to like sheepishly grin. He goes, "This stuff's good for me. It kills cancer cells." And then he tells me it's fresh squeezed. So how bad could it be for you?
Okay, so a reporter is like, Dr. Oz, what did you mean by Trump telling that story? Does the President of the United States really think that by drinking Diet Coke, he can reduce his cancer likelihood?
There was an interview that Dr. Mehmet Oz did recently where he described the president's views on his own diet. He said that he argued that diet soda is good for him because it kills grass. And if you pour it onto the grass, the grass is killed, and it therefore must kill cancer cells. I'm wondering if was this sort of an accurate description of how the president sees?
Look, as we all know in this room, I think...
Oh, I misunderstood that. I thought Dr. Oz got asked this question. Levitt has to answer for Dr. Oz's story. Okay, here we go.
Look, as we all know in this room, I think the president has a very good sense of humor. It's one of his most underreported characteristics, I would say. I have heard him tell this joke before. I think the Wall Street Journal should get a better sense of humor.
So it was a funny joke that we all kind of know he means. Didn't Trump say that he doesn't like working out, exercising, because he believes we have a finite amount of energy in our life, and that you waste it by working out? Didn't Trump say that he overtakes the recommended amount of aspirin from his doctor because he doesn't want thick, chunky blood flowing through his body, but thin, perfect blood? I don't think he's joking when he actually thinks that Diet Coke might kill cancer cells.
Trump also thinks that when you play video games, if you move your body with the controller, it makes you better. And that also when you're playing ping pong, if you shake the table, it gives you more points.
What? Okay, so I don't know. We should get a better sense of humor, according to Caroline Levitt. All right, checking in with the audience before getting into Dr. John Gartner on Piers Morgan saying this guy has a brain, but it ain't working. And that's bad for the world. Kayla. Let's see.
All right. We have from Jessica Baker 779. Kayla, please stay. We love you. What's your favorite sound bit? From the soundboard? Probably this one.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
It's just overall good. Makes me happy every time. And then from Soroke, we have high gas prices are so American. If you complain about gas prices, you must be a terrorizer.
Yeah.
And then from Lens92, how do they keep a straight face? All lies with the facepalm emoji.
I don't know. I wonder that all the time. It's so beyond your typical politics dishonesty that we've seen from the beginning of time, where people try to lie a little bit around the edges, twist the truth to defend their boss. This is like they have to go out and pretend as if they actually believe Trump thought he was posting an image of a doctor. And then they have to pretend that. And I don't know how they don't go and sort of grin. I really I agree with you. It baffles my mind more than Trump's dishonesty. I think I can get my head around a clinically narcissistic person who does not believe in truth and only believes in himself. And words are just in service of himself, so it doesn't even matter. Truth is not even a concept he cares about. I can figure out that maybe you're so mentally some type of way that is how Trump approaches the world. It horrifies me. But I understand it more than the people around him who seem like if it weren't for them doing this, they would be normal people who are able to go and pretend as if any of it makes sense. Okay, let's now talk about this. I've said it before, but it really is an opening of the floodgates for people psychologically. Once they realize that Trump is wrong on an issue, all of a sudden they notice everything else we've been saying. It's a little irritating, to be honest, because then they Can I just rant about this for a second? Then we're going to get to a really interesting segment, I promise, which is a psychologist going on Piers Morgan and making a very scary statement about Trump's mental state and what that could do to the world. But just, I've seen one right-winger after another. Oh, this is going to be so heated. Oh my gosh. Go on television or go on their podcasts and start to describe things like, Trump doesn't even seem to be a real Christian. He's using this as a smokescreen, or he's pretending to be it for political purposes. Or Trump has low character in how he reacts to people's deaths, or Trump doesn't seem to know what's going on in his administration, or Trump is a liar, or Trump is mentally declining. And they'll say it like they're a brave truth teller that's saying something no one's ever heard before. And they don't credit all of the people who've been saying this since I was literally 13. Okay? Before I could drive, I was saying the things that now 50-plus-year-old Tucker Carlson is realizing for the first time in his life. But then it's said as if it is a revelation they should get so much credit for. Now, I'm happy to see anyone calling out when Trump lies, or whenever he spits on the grave of somebody, or whenever he gets us into war. Yes, good. But please stop acting as if you are so remarkable for noticing something that the very people you demonized for years have been screaming. So, an example of that is Piers Morgan, all of a sudden, now that he realizes Trump got us into a very dangerous war for no reason, is going, is Trump mentally declining? Which is something he would have scoffed at. I think he did scoff at whenever I said it to him on his show. Well, what about Biden? What about Biden? What about Biden? Yes, I know! That too! But I liked his version of decline a heck of a lot better than Trump's. His was sleepy cute grandpa. His was, hey, come here. Hey, you look like Barack Obama. So yes, but that doesn't mean, just because he was age-related declining doesn't mean we don't analyze the current president right now. Actually, it's better reason to care about Trump's state. Okay, so now Piers Morgan all of a sudden has seen the light, and he brought on John Gardner and went, maybe Trump is having a cognitive problem. Oh, shocking. Shocking, the guy who brags about taking a dementia screening test where you have to identify zebras as proof that he's smart, he maybe has a cognitive problem. If it's true he's getting this many cognitive tests, maybe that's because they're worried about his cognition.
Dangerous moment now that's ever happened in human history, because the man who is president is a malignant narcissist who wants to assert his dominance and his grandiosity over the world. And as he's starting to cognitively deteriorate, he's attacking on an impulsive basis, based on the thrill he gets from destruction because he's a malignant narcissist, and based on his confused cognitive picture, so that he's acting on impulse. He's not acting on strategy. Okay. He can't tell us when, where, why, how. He says he knows it in his bones. And so no one can, there's no rhyme or reason to it. But now it relates not just to awkward comments or wandering away from ceremonies, right? But starting what potentially World War III. And this is happening now.
Yes, it's true. If Trump is losing even more of his critical thinking skills, he's seeing an even more delusional version of the world. Imagine, if you would, there was a guy who was really narcissistic and couldn't see the world through any other lens than that, and everything centered around himself, and he had delusions of grandeur before getting old and then maybe having dementia or something. And then he gets some version of decline that exacerbates the negative aspects of the personality he already had. That could be dangerous, huh? Spoiler alert, I'm talking about Trump, obviously. So it's reasonable to say, this isn't just, hey, he's an old guy. Whatever. What's even old? I know someone who's 90 plus, sharp as a tack. Everyone's different. But in his case, at some point, the Big Macs are going to catch up to him. We know it. And I just mean in like his health. Not even that he's going to, I just mean his health. And how could a brain function for that long off of that material? At some point, Filet-O-Fish can't fuel a brain. Okay? At some point, it can't. And the Diet Coke that he says cures his cancer. probably is poisoning other cells if it's killing cancer cells, according to him. That could cause him to be even more disconnected and easy to convince that this is how you have a legacy of strength, is by eliminating all of the Iranian civilization. Yes, it's worse. Do you remember whenever we showed you yesterday him reacting to the death of Justice Ginsburg? And he goes, she was a wonderful woman. And he actually handled it with grace, shockingly. Now then he tried to jam a Supreme Court justice down everyone's throats right before the election. But he did say things that were kind. That was a few years ago. I think one of the examples of his brain changing and getting more deranged, more demented, potentially literally, is the way that he's reacted to deaths recently. And been like, I'm happy this person died because they're not politically aligned with me. Here's more from this interview. Again, this is psychologist John Gardner.
Brought against Donald Trump. We're joined by a guest who has a strong view on the president's health and is a psychologist, Dr. John Gardner, the founder of Duty to Warn. Well, welcome to Uncensored, Dr. Gardner. Your view is what about Donald Trump's cognitive current abilities?
Right. The man is not compos mentis. Those who know him well say he wasn't the same man he was 4 years ago.
He's compass mental.
But I believe that he is showing signs of dementia. A lot of doctors are saying that now. Dr. Vin Gupta has been saying it. And the nature of dementia is it doesn't get better. It doesn't stay the same. It gets worse. And the rate of decline accelerates. Now I think he's not the same man he was 4 weeks ago. We're watching his decline in real time accelerate. And it's really quite frightening because the type of dementia that we think he has, frontotemporal dementia, the main component is a lack of inhibition of aggressive behavior.
What, Trump? John Trump? Like, I don't know, threatening genocide in public? Would that be an example? I'm not a doctor.
As well as loss of memory and confusion. But because the frontal lobes, which are the brakes in our brain that give us judgment, that hold us back from acting out impulsively, that's the part that's deteriorating. So not only is he losing his capacity to understand and comprehend, but he's losing all internal inhibitions. And that's why he's behaving in this more erratic and actually self-destructive way. In this, say, tweeting against the Pope or cursing people out, that he's always been impulsive and aggressive.
He has
but
attacked.
Now it's starting to show in a more extreme way.
He attacked Pope Francis. He's attacked individuals throughout his entire life as an adult, both as a real estate tycoon, as a TV star, as a politician. There's nothing unusual about any of that. I spoke to him on the phone 2 months ago, and he sounded for about 10 minutes exactly the same as the Donald Trump I've known for 20 years. So I'm not sure that I've personally seen any evidence of this dementia you're talking about. But I guess my question for you would be, did you express the same public warnings about Joe Biden?
Oh! Or in an office, I should not scream like that. I just got the look from Cole. If they come knock, I'm telling them it was you. I'm telling you it was you, Kayla. This is new in-person employee hazing.
I'm sorry, I didn't know the rules. That's my bad. I'll keep it down.
She screams a lot. Sorry, I shouldn't scream like that. That was crazy. Hey, let him go, Pierce. Yes, John Gardner. I don't know what he's about to say. I'll play it for you. I remember watching an interview where he said Biden is declining, Trump is dementing. So he did. He was always warning about Trump. But I'm actually sick of this. I'm a little sick of it, okay? Was Biden declining? Yes. Like people do. And did that make it, right? He was 80. Okay, yeah, that happens. Does that mean he probably should have not run, allowed a primary, and it would have been difficult for him to fulfill all the duties for another 4 years and the stress that comes along with it, contributing to all the health problems? Yep. Is that the same as what John Gardner's pointing out? No, it's different. That was just a slower, more difficult to remember things, sleepier, needs to end work earlier version of Biden. but the same Biden. He's saying this is making Trump more dangerous. Could you listen to that for a second without thinking about Joe? Because guess what, Piers? Far more coverage was given to Biden's mental state than Trump's. And Trump's currently the president. And this illusion, the part that I'm sick of is this illusion of the no one would talk about it. Did you even exist in this world during Biden's entire presidency? Sometimes he would just try to have a little fun. And people would be like, he's gone in his brain. Like whenever everyone was dancing and he wasn't dancing. And he was just staring like a robot. Okay? That's called Biden having a good time. Watching other people dance stiffly. It's called fun. All right? So I'm just a little sick of it. Yes, say what you will. But you have to not have your brain's broken. You're saying Biden's brain broken? Fine, your brain's broken. By him. At some point, you need to move on from him and recognize that there's a guy currently in the Oval Office that's not just getting older and having a hard time speaking and needing to go to bed early, but is getting demented and dangerous. More so than he already was.
Did you express the same public warnings about Joe Biden?
Well, I think the difference was they were hiding Joe Biden from us. So we really
they weren't hiding him from us on television. I mean, I wrote a number of columns, for example, for the New York Post, in which I said there is clear evidence that Biden is suffering serious cognitive decline, which looks to me like the early onset of dementia. I did this repeatedly for 2 years. I'm not even a psychologist. But I'm just curious whether you ever publicly expressed any concerns about...
I don't know why he's saying they were hiding him. Don't do that. They were. They were. I know they were. But you should give yourself credit for Biden is declining, Trump is dementing. He didn't ignore the... and of course I can't follow it. I can't find it. Biden is aging, Trump is dementing. Here it is. I mean, this isn't the article I was thinking of, but this is a version of it. And then he talked about Biden's age-related decline. He was just saying it was more normal. Like, that's how it normal. And you're like, oh no, he can't say, go to blah, 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 blah. Go to blah. You're like, oh no. That's not even related to what we're talking about here. I don't like that. It felt like John right there didn't give himself credit for, he would never ignore. I remember he did an interview with David Pakman, he did an interview with other people. He wouldn't ignore and be like, Biden's as sharp as he's just nailing it. He just was more concerned about what could be done to Trump's critical thinking because of the versions of cognitive diminishment he was seeing in Trump.
About Biden's cognitive ability while he was president.
Well, I think that we missed that one, to be honest, especially for those of us who didn't have close contact with him. But
So you saw nothing, just to be clear, you saw nothing about Joe Biden in public life during the last 2 years of his presidency, which as a psychologist made you think he had any cognitive issues whatsoever?
Well, I think the shocking moment was the debate.
Yeah, but before the debate.
Right. Well, unlike Trump, who's so out there with his cognitive...
Well, now this interview is becoming a disaster for John. John, say yes. Maybe he was shocked. You know what? I was shocked by the debate, but I wasn't like... I don't know. I think some people act like dumb sometimes. Sometimes I wonder if I'm the only person who doesn't have cognitive decline. Have you ever felt that way? That you're in a room full of people, not with y'all, but in the broader world, and everyone has cognitive decline except for you? Yes. Woo! Yeah, what's the thing? What did Biden do that was more irrational because of his aging? He would have done the same exact things, except for he would have been able to speak better and remember things better. And hopefully would have, that's it, and campaigned better. Whereas the argument from Dr. John Gardner, is that Trump's critical thinking skills are being warped because the very little inhibitions he had are gone. And the impulse control is gone. And there could actually be dementia as opposed to just like, the hamster's still on the thing, but like very struggling to keep running on the hamster wheel. What's that wheel that hamsters are on? Oh, a hamster wheel. So that's my take. You know what? I'm the psychologist now, John. Let me explain it. Just kidding. I respect you. I appreciate you. And I appreciate the warning. He's saying this is dangerous, and I agree with his assessment. It's different. Trump will be able to speak more authoritatively, more clearly, confidently than Biden, but we should pick up on the frontal cortex. Is that what he said? Which part of the brain was he saying? Is going bye-bye for Trump, and how that's actually contributing to why it feels like he's more rational. And if you don't see that, if you're like, he was always this crazy, we're liberals, so we always thought he was bad, but that's different than he's not having trains of thought that have any coherence to them. There is a difference there. If you're seeing it, let me know in the comments. Auntie Cecily said, Luke, you're not cognitively. Do you have that soundbite? I'm not cognitively. It's so good. Now, it's weird. Someone said they looked at when they get a cow, stuffed animal or something, that they think of the I love cows. But I love cows. It's interesting how doing this job makes some of those speech patterns change because of the soundboard or because of things Trump says a lot. So I often, even when I'm not on the show, will go in terms of his cognitive. And I end it there. There's not cognitive state. I'll just be like, that person has great cognitive because of that soundbite. I'm not cognitively. Yeah. Soren said, good morning, just got here, so I'm going to go back to the beginning, but I just want to say hi, hello. Well, when you get here in the future, I appreciate you. Then you have Toby or not Toby saying Trump lied. In other news, fork found in kitchen. Yeah. No freaking joke. Toby or not Toby. Which one is it? Okay, let's skip forward. What do we want to do here? We've been going for an hour and a half. We've done 1, 2, 3, 4 segments. Do we dare do a fourth? Do we want to do Ashley St. Clair or Tucker? A fifth, I mean. Fourth, fifth, I mean fifth. Hey, coleslaw. I'm cognitive. I'm the best cognitive I've ever been. That was our fourth. Do we want to do a fourth? Yeah, let's do it. Should we do it? Trump's going to get us into World War II. Just get ready for that. That's a Trump quote. He said, I was going to... We'll repeat your... Oh. I don't think we have that one on the soundboard. But let's talk about this now, okay? On the bonus show yesterday, you don't have the bonus show? What the heck? Click the join button on YouTube to get it. We talked about the right-wing influencer, Benny Johnson. Are you able to pull up photos? Or is that something you're... If you could pull up a photo of Benny Johnson, that'd be helpful. Just so everyone knows what he looks like. And he is clashing with the mother of one of Elon Musk's children, Ashley St. Clair. So the story behind Ashley St. Clair is that there's Benny Johnson. Ashley St. Clair was a right-wing influencer. She then pursued the quote-unquote rocket babies of Elon's. Not the baby, the term rocket babies, to be clear, and Elon. But the baby, we love all the babies or whatever. But so then she ended up getting pregnant with one of his children. Elon initially denied or was kind of going, I don't know if that's my baby, but whatever. And then eventually it became clear it was. Wow, that's Benny Johnson? Oh my gosh, Benny. And so now Ashley St. Clair is saying, you know what, I'm done with MAGA. I'm going to expose these right-wing grifters. And she's doing it. And here's what's weird. I would have thought if you told me that there was a former MAGA influencer who pursued Elon and had a child with him, that probably this is not going to be someone that I admire much, just if you want to be with Elon or if you're MAGA. But she's kind of funny and kind of entertaining, and I'm loving it. So let's get into this. Yashar Ali posted kind of a compilation of different stories she's been posting, and this is the update beyond what we covered on the bonus show, and there'll be some crossover, but she's saying, I'm going to take down Benny Johnson. You're going to curse the day you ever brought up my kid, because, and you'll see this in the compilation, Benny Johnson covered whenever Ashley St. Clair was responding to a commenter who was going like, hey, you've espoused a lot of transphobia now that you're breaking away with MAGA. Do you have anything to say about that? And Ashley St. Clair literally just said, we read the whole post on yesterday's bonus show, but it was like, hey, I feel bad for that. I don't know exactly what I can do, but I'm trying to learn and be more compassionate. And I'd hate to believe that I contributed to any alienation of my son's sister, being one of Elon's other children, who is trans. And that's all it was. It wasn't, I'm going to turn my 1-year-old trans. It was just, I'm trying to be more loving to the trans community. That was it. Okay. That was turned into by Elon, who said, I'm going to get custody now because she says she's going to trans our child. And Benny Johnson into this narrative that she was going to transition their 1-year-old, which like wasn't anywhere what she said at all. She was just like, hey, I'm trying to be more loving towards trans people. That was it. And so now she's going, Benny Johnson, you endorsed the idea of my kid being taken away from me because of that. And I'm going to expose all the things that I learned when we used to know each other. And I'm here for it. Get your popcorn, ladies and gentlemen. Here's Ashley St. Clair. Let's go.
This is a message for Benny Johnson. Since I came forward about my experience with that predator, Madison Cawthorn, I had mentioned in my video that Benny Johnson, I had disclosed to him that I had experienced this behavior with Madison Cawthorn, and that Benny has continued to platform this awful human being. However, I'm not a consumer of Benny Johnson content because I value my IQ and I'm not one of his cerebral speed bump boomer followers.
Guys, 2026, the Trump administration era is like, there's no bingo card for it. You couldn't have possibly made a bingo card that would have any of this on it. Elon's baby mama goes liberal after being a right-wing influencer and makes fun of the cerebral speed bump boomer audience of Benny Johnson? Hell yeah. I mean, that's mean. I'm not saying you're dumb if you don't agree with me politically, but if you watch Benny Johnson, you are.
Unfortunately, I've watched his content in the last 24 hours because it's been sent to me. And before yesterday, I was unaware of the content that Benny Johnson had been putting out about me on his show, including about my family and my children, and that I should lose my child, that I am not a sane parent, that I am a narcissist, making up lies about my finances and my family situation. So, Benny, I have been sitting on the...
Benny and the Johnson
seats of you for far too long. You and your sociopathic behavior and the way you operate your businesses and your grift. So you want to go, Benny? You want to talk about my children and make this personal? Let's go. Because I have been sitting on this for far too long. And guess what? A lot of people have been sitting on things about you for far too long. And I will remind you that if you live in a glass house, stop throwing stones for your little Facebook dollars. TTFN, you're next.
So then her next story was posting, and I might not post this in case it gets copyrighted, but a song that has the lyrics "We're all a little gay," and a photo that she took with Benny Johnson years ago, and then the pride flag. Of course, alluding to the long-term scuttlebutt rumors that Benny Johnson, despite being a right-wing, anti-gay, traditional, conservative, whatever the terminology is, himself might be a little fruity.
I was gonna say, I was like, is he the Gay Cruise ad guy?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
So what she's referring to, everybody, is one time he posted on Twitter, what the heck? Why is this news outlet advertising gay cruises, all male gay cruises? And people were like, Benny, that's a Google ad targeted to you based on your search history.
It was worse than that too. He was saying, "Why is it on the military website too?" It was like so completely layered. He was like, "I'm getting these not woke, gay cruise ads on the military website. America's gone," and then okay. I thought that was him, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, that was him. That was him. You're right. You're right. And there's long been this, but don't worry, that's obviously not true because he posts every day a photo of him and with his wife and his entire family. And that's like obviously means he's never even thought of it. And of course we don't care, but there's a hypocritical angle and a lol if you really are making this much of an effort to convince people that I swear that's not me. Just be you, boo. That's the take I think from all of us over here. But next story that she posted.
And Benny, I wouldn't even try to retroactively delete anything on Telegram because I backed it all up years ago, many, many moons ago. because I've known you're a piece of shit.
No.
So then this is her posting next on her story. Y'all are having fun, right? This is good. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, it's very tea. I just learned this from my boyfriend. Am I doing it right? Hum, hum, hum. Are you ready for the tea? Hum, hum, hum. That's my version of it. He's going to cringe so much when he sees that. Okay, then he posted the clip of Benny saying that she should have her kid taken away because she's sick and is going to trans the kid. And she wrote, "You will regret the day you spoke about my child for the rest of your life."
It's sick. It's crazy. And it's wrong. Period. Just is. And so, yeah. The only thing that you can hope in this scenario is that the child goes to the sane parent that doesn't believe in this type of gender fluidity and butchery of children.
All right, now I'm gonna chill out before my attorneys call me, but I've been dealing with these people. I've been quiet for over a year now, and I've been dealing with these people attacking my family, my children. Like, if you're gonna attack me, leave my kids out of it, leave my family situation out of it. But I'm so sick of this, and I know I'm being a bit much right now.
No, go you, go you, go you. You're not being enough. Be more. And also, what is it? She's saying you're gonna regret it. Maybe she's preparing an expose. Contact her, please. I think she might. I feel like I do know someone who has her phone number, but they're kind of enemies. But yeah, did you know this? That Isabella Moody is like enemies. They used to be friends, yeah, but enemies. We need to. Ashley St. Clair, I did a podcast with your enemy, and we had a falling out. So now I want to call her my enemy. But now you can have, do you want to do The Grudge with me? The Grudge returns, but maybe you're on my side now. I honestly think, that would make Isabella so mad. I don't want to be like that. Now I'm going to do a podcast with your enemy. Point is, but also she, okay, so, wait. I know I have an issue. After the show ended, she went out and did all the same hateful things that I wanted her to not do. So why would I still feel bad about offending her? I don't know. I just do. We had a bond. Okay, but Ashley, we can do the coolest expose about Benny on my show. And I'm been told I'm a sweetheart. So, and a sweet pea, sweeter than apple pie, etc. I think we should do it on my show. Can like one of the Clippers or Mediaite or someone clip this? Luke Beasley, sweet pea, sweetheart. You could put like in parentheses, quotations. Invites Ashley St. Clair, and she is obviously going to do it because that would be so cool, is the headline. And then a photo of me here. I'll give you the photo for the article. Okay, do that. Use that, and then we'll do the article about how I'm inviting her on the show to do the expose. Do it there. Because listen, you want it to be on a platform that, you know, people trust. And that even right-wingers say is the best channel. And that, it's big, right? Big enough to go viral. We have enough followers. They'd be interested in it. But not one of these janky channels that's like big but kind of janky. So that has been formally invited. I think we're going to make it happen. I think Ashley St. Clair would dig the idea. Because I don't think she has like a YouTube channel. So you want to make it, we can edit it well, make sure it has all the receipts. But if you just drop it on a blank channel, like where it doesn't yet have followed, it'll be hard to kind of get traction initially. On ours, it'll immediately get traction. I'm not saying this for me. It's not for me. This is for you. Come on. Let's keep going.
But it's been a lot. It's been a year of this non-stop bullshit.
Boy is a pawn, a personal vendetta.
All All right, now she posted another clip of him on her story saying, Benny, you have profited and raked in clicks by making my child a show topic. You have stated lies as a matter of pure and total fact. You are no family man. You are a demented clout goblin who promoted harassment against my children for money and views. But let's air out the record I have on you, and let's let the public decide who is the narcissistic grifter. You punch first. May Jesus have mercy on you, because I won't. Oh my gosh, Ashley. This is so crazy that you became so cool so fast. I'm sure you've done terrible things, by the way. I don't know much about you. Just given the whole, saga. But that's a good line. May Jesus have mercy on you, because I won't. My children are not a news topic for your YouTube channel, you hypocritical, closeted demon. There it is. And we added the closeted portion of it. Wait, is he a closeted demon? Like, the thing that he's in the closet about is that he's a demon? Or is he closeted like homosexual and he happens to be a demon?
I think she forgot the comma.
Right.
Closeted, comma demon.
Because don't make it seem like, don't put demon next to closeted. If he's closeted. It's fine. That makes it sound like you're saying the demon is like the gay demon. But demons, gay is not demon. It's like angel. I'm not, what? It's
you
like,
good?
Shay? Shay? I'm so excited to I was controlled by a demon. And I was like, why is it so fun to be controlled by a demon? Okay.
Narcissism should be fueled by a crowd of haters who would happily see the child's life ruined if it meant Elon would suffer. She's chasing clout at the expense of her son's future. This innocent boy deserves protection from a father who has a heart to save him. That is a matter of pure and total fact. Listen,
So Benjamin Johnson has responded. He said, I am a Christian. As a Christian, I try to live out my faith. It's impossible to always get it right, but this is something I strive for. Jesus says, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God. The internet runs on drama, and it's gotten worse. So
she's reading the post Benny used to respond to her stories, and he starts it with, I am a Christian, and blessed are the peacemakers. Shut up, bitch! Benny? You know what I mean? Like, shut up. I am a Christian. No, that has nothing to do with this. He's like, Jesus said peace, so why are we having this drama? Your whole channel is a drama. It's just a big drama. Oh, liberal soy boy has his jugular ripped out, that he has to eat it. It's like the titles of your videos. About me one time. Liberal shaking, trembling. You remember that? He was like, he described me as like shaking and trembling and a sweaty bosom or something.
It was kind of sexual, if I'm being honest. I was like, it's kind of sexual on a little.
I don't know if
saying like that.
Is it going through the mic? Oh, I think my thing's wrong. Sorry. Sorry, I was trying to interrupt you. I couldn't hear your mic.
It's okay.
There you go. There you go. Okay, I hear you. It was Benny. Is that what? Whenever you're saying Tim Pool made me shake and tremble, and then he gutted me like a fish. That was the phrase. That I got gutted like a fish by Tim Pool. Was there sexual undertones to that, Benny? Okay.
Stay out of it. But the lies are loud, and it's important to state the truth. I don't know why people engage in this trash. It's bad for the soul. But to the people out there that do it, I forgive you. Christ forgave me, so I forgave you. Okay, Benny, you seem a bit confused, so I'll make it real clear why people are engaging in this trash. It's because you said I'm transing my child and that my child should be taken away from me. You're talking about my baby. I'm glad you found Jesus, though, because you're gonna fucking need him.
Oh my gosh, this is just too exciting. It's all just too exciting. Benny, you going down, Benny? Let me see if I can find that. Benny Johnson, Tim Pool, liberal, shaking? I don't know if this was... Oh, I found it.
Luke B is gone out of my skull.
That's me getting beat up. An AI or something.
Dad! Come on! Did you hear what he said? Holy smokes!
Tim Pool ends career of sniveling lib live, guts him like a fish, left shaking in stunned silence.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was.
What's up, guys? Your boy Benny. It is the holidays. You're probably going to have young nieces and nephews, little kids running around your house. Maybe there's some sports equipment, a Fisher-Price basketball hoop, and they'll challenge you to a one-on-one game, and you will dunk on those little kids, right? You will destroy them. You'll humiliate them. Air Jordan.
Literally, no. I don't do that to my little nieces and nephews. Yeah.
All right. And they're just like the Munchkin League. And it will be very bad for them. And you'll say, grow up, kid, right? You'll say, grow up. Come back when you're grown up. They don't have to embarrass you in front of the entire family here and have it in 4K. That's just happened in the literal sense on Tim Pool's show, where a young man named Luke Beasley tried to dunk on Tim and ended up destroying his career. Now, Luke Beasley, I don't know who this person is. He looks exactly like kind of your average, typical soy boy, cuck, leftist, right? Very weak jaws, these people. Very, very weak jaw, very thin, translucent individuals. They all are. I don't know if they...
Does he really have a better jawline?
He doesn't. He's projecting.
Ready, mog off.
Mog off, go. Blue steel, blue steel. That's insane. That's such an insane line. First of all, I don't respect any grown ass man who's going to talk about someone younger than him like that, because like it's obviously like a projection of him feeling like the grip of age coming to him, and he did not go through his twink death well. Obviously, I'm just going to throw that out there.
Oh my gosh.
They all look exactly the same. Progressive political commentator. Okay, Luke Beasley show on YouTube. Let's go ahead and check. What does a Luke Beasley show on YouTube look like here? Luke Beasley has, wow, 1 million subs. Okay, so he's clearly Luke Beasley has something going on here, but it's all over now. It's all done because Tim Pool ended it.
It's so funny. It's like we've watched this so many times. But he then plays the whole 7-minute clip and doesn't react to it. So I don't think he watched the clip. I think someone just said, look at this. Because obviously the clip is me disproving Tim Pool's entire 5-minute rant in like 3 seconds. Which is why I was quiet for a while. It's like, go. And then he Googled what I said and was like, oh, shoot. That's that clip. But, oh, man. So that's that. He doesn't do drama, right? Because blessed are the peacemakers. Obviously, that's his whole channel. Then Ashley St. Clair did a very funny story about how people are threatening to expose her if she's going to expose Benny.
Since I came out about Benjamin Grinder Johnson, people have been threatening to expose me, so I'm just going to do it myself. In case you didn't know, I've had sex with men outside of marriage. And in college, I used to, not only would I smoke weed, but I would mix it with, they call it a spliff actually, and if
So I guess other people were like, well, if you expose people in our crew, then we're going to post stuff about you. And she's saying, okay, I'll tell you. What are you going to post about me? That I slept with people in the space? Okay. So go, Ashley, in this context, and come do your expose on this show. And then I'll end it by saying, who's the gutted fish now, Benny? This is all a big long play to get him back for being mean. Yes, it'll be great. All right, we're doing it. Check. It's scheduled. Native naturalist, does Benny not understand how to normalize his audio? His intros are always so loud. It bothers me. And then he'll be like, and that's just exactly what is happening. It's your boy Benny. You're like, oh my gosh, why don't you have compression and equalizer and etc., right? What's the other stuff? Gain, you know, all those different terms. Luke Sweet Peasley. I know this is like combining sweet pea in my name. That's very kind of you, but Peasley sounds very, very weak. That sounds weak-jawed, to use Benny's phrase. I feel weak-jawed and like a soy boy cuck if my last name is Peasley.
Soy boy beta cuck, Luke Beasley.
And then Chef T. Thank you so much. By the way, Benny's of the world, Tim Pool, Ben Shapiro, anyone else like that? Can y'all do more videos like that, please? I say stuff you don't agree with. Trump's horrible. You're a coward, Benny. Your whole job is just being a you know what I mean? Like, you could take some clips and then be like, you're a loser. Because it's so fun going over them on the show. And we don't get enough, and it irks me. Because I know all of you kind of have fun with it when I go, look, when Tim Pool made that really long video raging about me, and we went over it was so fun. It's just fun. It feels so like you're in the thick of the drama. But I don't want to create the drama. I want them to create it, and I want to respond to it triumphantly. Is that so irrational? Can you be the antagonist so I could be the protagonist? But no, you won't. Because you know you'll get bodied. You get bodied, Benny. Make one more video about me, Benny Johnson. See what happens. See what happens, Benny. Oh, so you're afraid. Chicken. So you're afraid to speak my name. You won't say Voldemort Luke's name one more time. Say it one more time, I dare you. See what happens, Benny. See what happens.
Are we going to write a diss track?
Please. Please. I won't even, by the way, if you do attack me, I swear I won't make one reference to the cruise ship thing. Or anything related. I won't do the Benny grinder. I won't do any of that. That's not my line of attack. It would be fun. Could you just don't do it. Right, but do it. And I won't reference anything about gay or anything like that. Because I find that the least substantive attack. I think the case is with Benny. He slept with dudes. Okay. Then he realized he wanted to be with a woman. Okay. And that's confusing to him because he doesn't want sexuality to be a spectrum. But he's happy. He's in a relationship, and I don't think that he's, exclusively gay in the sense that he is only attracted to men. I think he's attracted to his wife, and I think that he's good. Like, that's fine. Now, you're a hypocrite for exploring yourself, but then being judgmental towards other people who explore themselves. But I think that's the truth about him, by the way. So that's not even going to be my line of attack. And same thing, Alex Jones. Do you have anything to attack me over? That'd be so fun. Luke Beasley is a soy. That'd be, but they don't. Okay, let me get my papers. All right, this paper, you see this paper? Lots of things on this paper. You see this paper? All right, cool. I got all my documents set and shown. The only one that actually has stuff is this one. Okay, let's talk about this. Let's just do an over 2-hour show. Why not? Right? Do you have anywhere to be? Okay, Kayla's good. Cole, you have anywhere to be? Let's talk about Tucker. Tucker Carlson has now escalated his attack against Trump, and once again, it's very fun and good to see the crumbling of the MAGA base. Some of these leaders who used to be big in the MAGA camp now attacking the leader of it. And Tucker, though, is uniquely able to turn his criticism of Trump into a very unfamiliar take. So instead of just Trump made a horrible decision on the Iran war, or Trump is a narcissist who does think that he is God, like not literally, but he doesn't care about the concept of God because he thinks he's the best thing in the world. So when he posts an image of him being Jesus, that's just because he thinks someone's praising him. That's all he wants. And that should be called out. Instead, Tucker's now building the case that Trump is the Antichrist. The Antichrist. Here we go.
Hours, and people were outraged, and then they weren't, and we've got other things to worry about. They moved on. But for sincere religious people, for Christians who care about Jesus and what's true and what's not, a lot of them went to their Bibles to try and figure out, what are we watching here? And a lot of them came up with a couple of verses that seem to fit what we're watching. And if you are a sincere Christian or know some, maybe you got these texted to you, but we'll read them just so you know how a lot of people of faith were interpreting this. The first is from Paul's second letter to the Thessalonians, the church is Thessalonica, chapter 2, a very well-known verse in which he's describing what's going to happen when Jesus comes back. And he says, you're going to hear that Jesus is coming back. Don't believe what you hear. A bunch of things have to happen before he returns to earth, redeems the world, history ends. And you'll know that he's coming by these events. And among them will be the rise of a figure he describes as the man of lawlessness, sometimes describes as the Antichrist. But the man of lawlessness is the phrase from his second letter to the Thessalonians. And he says this, there will be a great rebellion against God, led by that man of lawlessness.
He's like Professor Tucker. He puts on his glasses. He's wearing such a middle-aged teacher outfit, you know? And then he has it printed out instead of just reading it off of a computer, which is fine. I get it. Sometimes it's satisfying to have hard copy. But then he reads it to us. Let's see.
This man, quote, will oppose and will exalt himself over everything that is called God or is worshipped, so that he sets himself up in God's temple, proclaiming himself to be God. He will pose as God. He will mock other gods and put himself in their place. That's from the second letter to the Thessalonians.
So, quick question. What was the purpose of taking off the glasses here and then putting them right back on?
In their place. That's from the second letter to the Thessalonians. But that's not the first place in the Bible, Old and New Testaments, where something like this is described. Variations of this are in a number of prophecies in what Christians call the Old Testament, including those contained in the book of Daniel. The prophet Daniel describes something very much like this at the end of history, and he's describing this period, really, as is so often described in the prophets, as punishment. Punishment for faithlessness and sin. God's people are being punished for not following God. And that punishment, he describes in part in chapter 11 from the book of Daniel, predicts the coming of a king, and we're quoting now, a king who will do as he pleases. He will exalt and magnify himself above every god and will say unheard of things against the God of gods. He will be successful until the time of wrath is completed. For what has been determined must take place. It's all ordained, in other words, preordained. He will show no regard for the gods of his ancestors, nor will he regard any god, but will exalt himself above them all. So to a lot of Christians, or people who know the Bible well and believe in it, these predictions in both the Old and the New Testament, and there are others, seem to fit what we were watching. Here's a leader who's mocking the gods of his ancestors, mocking the God of gods, and exalting himself above them. Could this be the Antichrist? Well, who knows? At least that's my conclusion. Who knows? We're also told repeatedly in the New Testament that you're not going to know that Jesus will return like a thief in the night, and you better be ready because you can't predict it. But we're also told there are signs, and is this one of them? Well, again, unclear. This, by the way, fits the behavior of other leaders throughout history who saw themselves in a kind of rivalry with the gods of their people.
So he's now saying the word explicitly. Is this the Antichrist? Talking about Trump. And I say... And if you're saying we wouldn't know, then why am I even worried about it? You know what I mean? If it's one of these, like, you don't notice till it's there, then okay. If that's a part of the prophecy, then I'll just wait. Plus, okay. So you're saying that because Trump's mocking God. Is that someone kneeling down to Trump? Oh my gosh. He's been mocking it since he got here, since he started this whole political thing. He never had a problem with it. So I should note that. Someone commented, who's been a member for 11 months, which I just want to include in this segment, Cucker calling Trump Antichrist means that he helped get the Antichrist in power. Z. Bezin. And that's the point that I've been going on about. I don't know if it seems like I'm being too repetitive about this. It just is always what I think, and I've been watching a lot of these different shows from all of the ones breaking away from Trump, and it's exciting, and there's a dramatic element of it, and there's also just a good aspect to seeing prominent people speak out against Trump in general and his actions in the war and all that. But then the part that's missing, it's just missing, and it's driving me crazy, and I feel gaslit, is that the Tuckers of the world don't explain what changed. And they try to get away with, like the Alex Jones message of there was an old Trump, but now there's a new Trump. Really? You're really going to go there? Trump's getting worse. We talked about that earlier in the show and the cognitive elements and all that, sure. But you can't act like this isn't, especially when you're calling out his usage of religious symbolism in a way that you find disingenuous and thus blasphemous. You can't act like this is out of nowhere. He's been doing this whole, I'm a sort of Messiah type figure. People around him have been doing that for a while now. And I think that you know that. And so while I want to engage with the argument, I mean, like I said, I don't really want to make I don't really want to debate if he's anti. I don't even know what that means. I don't know at all what that means. I do wish that I could engage further than just repeating this, but it feels hard to, because arguments are built like a house. You have a foundation, then you put up the structure, 2x4s, maybe. Then eventually you get to the drywall, and then you're deciding if you want a backsplash. But if you're telling me about the backsplash, or how you want a tub that has a lot of jets because you like the way that it feels on your bum, but we haven't yet even addressed the foundation, that feels like the wrong order. Now let me make that better. If we're looking at a house that has collapsed, okay, and you're saying, I can't go down this, I can't figure it out. Something to do with the foundation. Is that go with you? You get it? The foundation is what has structured the freaking backslash. Does that not make sense to you? The point is, you know that this was years in the making, all of what we're seeing now. And some people kind of try to explain how they felt duped, but Tucker doesn't even try. He's just like, today I bring you shocking news that Trump may be the Antichrist, after a decade of running cover for him and no explanation. So, fine for your views to change. You got to explain why. That's just the note I keep making. But is Trump the Antichrist? I don't even believe that's the thing, so I don't know. But if there was an Antichrist, it could be him, right? There's definitely support. There's definitely, if you're building that argument, there's a foundation that has been built for it already. Okay, does that make sense? Chef T, member for 3 months, said, I've done that often with my readers, especially in teaching cooking class during classroom time. Just wait, my young friend Luke. Oh, did I offend people who have what? That wasn't an eyesight. I just meant like, it's funny he so quickly took them on and took them back off. Took them off, put them back on. But I totally understand what you mean. You're looking out and now it's like the wrong zoom, so then you take it off so you can look at people, put it quickly back on. I get it. Cole, Kayla, both Cole, 2 out of 3 of us have glasses. It's not a glasses. I just didn't realize why I did it so quick. Ruby Hoover, member for, sent a gift of membership, excuse me. And then Germs Rosalina said, Emperor Nero was the Antichrist. That's why the number always spells his name in Hebrew. Gematria, it's just another failed prophecy of a failed death cult. I don't know. I can't engage with that one. That's like so out of my... Here's my area of expertise. Here's that.
Luke, I'll give you the middle ground. I can give you the middle ground.
Okay.
If you look at it as a philosophy or like a theologian, what it represents, like all of the signs of like the Antichrist and like the beast and the third one I can't remember, is usually just like what we see in powerful, corrupted men like Nero, like Caligula, like Hitler, like all of these people in history, and it's just a pattern that repeats itself over time that people are being warned about, and we see it all the time, and the fact that it's being expressed again is just indicative that the pattern recognition was correct, I think, personally.
That's a great point. Thank you for explaining it that way. Just like how, not that we need to go down the Christian route to make this argument, but even if you use that, which is the religion I grew up in, right? You have sort of this teaching that I understood, which was lots of the Bible is not literal. So my question was always, why? why is it so confusing? And they're like, it's just really interpretive, okay? When I was like, so you're telling me that he drowned the whole world except Noah, and then he got every single species too? And they're like, well, no, that's like metaphoric. And I'm like, okay. And some of them go no triple. Some of them say it's metaphor. I say, all right, I understand that. And then later they say, but that whole part about homosexuality, real as steel, brother. They're like, don't you get interpreted with that shit, okay? No. So, but 7 days, right? 7 days to create the world. Seventh day he rested. So really 6 days. And I remember thinking, well, that doesn't make sense because of evolution, right? So he couldn't have created a human in a day because it took a long time for us to create it. But I said, it's okay. That doesn't contradict if you believe that's a English linguistic way to describe 7 periods of time. And the creation of humans in that day could have been the story of their evolution. Fine. That's fine. Okay, I can believe. All right, fine. So then similarly, the descriptions of time from what would be, if you believed in it, a timeless God, a God that operates outside of time in infinity, right? It would make sense that it's not like even whatever is written about. I'm not that knowledgeable, to be honest, about the Revelation thing. My teachings was a little bit more focused on like love and serve people and go to the homeless shelter and stuff.
I grew up in one step above like a doomsday cult kind of church culture, like very
one step above,
like
or below.
Below.
Okay,
not above. No, God, no. Like one step below. So very much focused on the end times, the signs, the rapture, the revelations.
Mm-hmm.
The gays are going to bring Satan to here all by themselves, kind of thing.
Yes.
So yeah, I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I was lucky that a lot of the community I was in was less focused on like those aspects and more just what should we do in our life to mainly serve people more. But regardless, that's a deep point you made, Kayla, about how that if we wanted to interpret it differently, it could be a bunch of people represent these characteristics. What? Tyrants. Right? Is that what you said? Can't hear you. If you're not in the mic, and I find that very deep. And I think we should end on a deep note. Did I read everything? Oh, X2DAZ. Member for 3 months said, I just want freedom from religion. You can practice your religion, spirituality any way you like. That doesn't hurt others, but I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to see it weaponized. Just be quiet about it. I don't even think people need to be quiet about it. But I agree it should not be operating the government. And if Tucker wants to do a channel where he talks about everything through this lens, that's fine. But it's also sometimes a little funky how he specifically the little avenues he goes down. But yes, I do think that we should have freedom of religion, which means freedom from it if you want to be free from it. But then sometimes the freedom of speech of people expressing their religious beliefs will mean you're hearing about it, even if you don't believe in it, as long as it's not coming from people in positions of power. All right, that is today's massive jumbo show. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm pretty tired. We will still have a live bonus show at 6 p.m. Eastern, so join us for that. If you're a member, if you're not, become one by clicking the join button. Much love to you all, and I'll talk to you next time.